Hey guys, it's Brett and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about summer. We're almost to the end of May. There are so many books that are coming out. So what I thought I would do is do a little monthly preview of some books that I picked out that are going to be coming out for right now, June, and then I'll do one for July and also one in August because frankly, there is so much to try to sort through that I thought maybe this could help. So stick around. All right, so of course, first thing I always like to do on one of my videos is tell you about what I'm reading now. And I'm telling you this one, which was supposed to come out in June, but was just pushed back to the beginning of July. But pre-order it now. I will be talking about it more on my May wrap-up, but The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I am a little over halfway done. I just haven't had the time to really completely finish and consume this thing because we are trying to get so much content for June for the Gaze Reading podcast that has been my priority. However, this is so good. And, you know, I don't know how many of you read Long Bright River, her first book. I loved it. A very smart literary thriller. This is even better, about a girl who goes missing at a summer camp. But the twist of it is that years prior, her brother went missing as well. So anyway, this is now coming out July 3rd. It was supposed to come out June 11th, which makes me think that maybe this will be a book club pick somewhere. Well, we'll see. But at any rate, it's fantastic and I can't recommend this enough. So that's the first. I'm also reading with a group over on Instagram for AAPI month, Edinburgh by Alexander Chee. This is the first Chee novel I've read. Oh my God, you guys, he is, look, I'm probably preaching to choirs and so many of you already know this. What an incredible writer. What an incredible wordsmith. This is devastating, but I'm completely captivated by the whole thing. It's not a very long book. Again, I'll talk about this more in my next video next week, but loving this. All right. So there are three books that I just want to throw into this at the start, one of which I've already discussed last month. And some of these I will say straight up, some of these books, of which there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm covering 10, but then I have this little bonus in the beginning, which are actually some May books that just came out that really could spill over because for all what we're talking about, they are summer books. So the first one of these is The Guncle Abroad by Stephen Rowley. This just came out this week. You're going to see it everywhere. And for those of you who loved The Guncle, you absolutely are going to want to read this as well. Stephen just this week is also on the Gaze Reading podcast. So if you've read this or plan to read this, check that conversation out because it's really fun and he is just a delight. So that's the first. Okay, so this next book, well, funny thing, it is Stuart Turton's The Last Murder at the End of the World. And thank you to Source Books for this beautiful finished copy. Here's the thing. I have every one of Stuart Turton's books, and every time one of his books come out, they do somebody, Goldsboro, whomever, does gorgeous editions that I'm like, I have to have that. And I get them. I have them all. I've read none of them, which is crazy. And it's nothing to do with him. It's just that I love the books. I've heard great things about them. So I really plan to go back and read them all. However, let's start here so I can give you a little blurb about what it's about. Outside the island, there is nothing. The world was destroyed by a fog that swept the planet, killing anyone it touched. On the island, it is idyllic. 122 villagers and 3 scientists living in peaceful harmony. The villagers are content to fish, farm, and feed, to obey their nightly curfew, to do what they're told by the scientists. until, to the horror of the islanders, one of their beloved scientists is found brutally stabbed to death. And then they learn that the murder has triggered a lowering of the security system around the island, the only thing that was keeping the fog at bay. If the murder isn't solved within 107 hours, the fog will smother the island and everyone on it. But the security system has also wiped everyone's memories of exactly what happened the night before, which means that someone on the island is a murderer and they don't even know it. So it sounds really interesting. By the way, I don't understand what the significance of having to solve it with 107 hours, but I guess we'll figure it out. So that came out this week as well. You're probably going to see this around as well, because it sounds completely like a summer book. The last is something that I ordered, I don't have yet, which came out, which is Stephen King's You Like It Darker. I'm going to go back on something I always say, which is I don't like short stories. I do like a Stephen King short story, partially because they scare the crap out of me. And I do not, I've said this before, I do not like a scary movie. I really can do with a scary book. And I've heard these are like extra. So I'm really interested to see what that means for him. I also find this cover so phenomenal. It'll probably be on this side. This cover, so really great. Okay, so that's kind of what's out right now that I think can peel into this. So the first two I'm going to do, I've already talked about in an earlier video, so I'm not going to spend long on them, but I do think they're worth pointing out because both of them I think are going to be fairly big books for June. So we can call these, for lack of a better term, the blockbusters, just because of their size and because I think that they're going to be fairly significant books. The first is Same as It Ever Was by Claire Lombardo. Claire Lombardo wrote the really terrific book, The Most Fun We Ever Had. It's terrific, and if you haven't read it, I would highly recommend it. This comes out June 18th, and thank you to Doubleday for this. Quick blurb on this. Julia Ames is living an impossibly lovely life. Despite her inclination towards self-sabotage, she has found herself in midlife with a husband she loves, 2 happy children, and a quiet, contented existence. When she bumps into an old friend she hasn't spoken to in years, a friend who almost ended their marriage a decade before, Julia finds herself spinning out of control. This brilliant, full-hearted novel, a worthy successor to Claire Lombardo's beloved debut, follows Julia over the course of several tumultuous months of the present, as well as through the 50-some years that formed her from a chaotic childhood in Chicago to the claustrophobic early days of motherhood, which led her to risk everything in a desperate bid for connection. And the tradition of Elizabeth Strout, Anne Patchett, and Jonathan Franzen, you have me there. Same as It Ever Was examines the complete and complicated trajectory of one woman's life and asks what it takes to form and to keep a family. So I actually thought I would have read this by now, but alas, I have not. So really excited for that. Again, June 18th for that one. The other one, which I've talked about before, is All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. This comes out June 25th. It is fantastic. If you read his first book, you're absolutely going to want to have read this one too. You will absolutely want to read this one as well. This is all about a lifelong friendship that exists between these 2 young kids. It is epic. It is a thriller. It is heartbreaking. It is page-turning. It is all the things. So I can't say enough good things. Also, spoiler alert, Chris will be coming on to Gaze Reading in June, so look out for that. It's a great conversation. He's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guy. So June 25th. So those are what I call the biggie kind of blockbusters. Now, these next ones to me are and all of these could be interchangeable depending on what type of reader you are, but what I call these are the really fun beach reads. The first is Jackpot Summer by Elisa Friedland, and thank you to Berkeley for this one. The four Jacobson children were raised to respect the value of a dollar. Their mother reused tea bags and refused to pay retail. Their father taught them to budget before he taught them to ride a bike. And yet, as adults, their financial lives as well as their personal lives are in complete disarray. The siblings reunite when their newly widowed father puts their Jersey Shore beach house on the market. Packing up childhood memories isn't easy, especially when there's another drama brewing. Matthew is miserable at his corporate law job and wishes he had more time with his son. Laura's marriage is imploding in spectacular fashion. Sophie's art career is stalled while her boyfriend is on the rise. And Noah's total failure to launch has him doing tech repair for pennies. When Noah sees an ad for Powerball drawing, he and his sisters go in on tickets while their brother Matthew passes. All hell breaks loose when one of the tickets is a winner, and three of the four Jacobsons become overnight millionaires. Without their mother's guidance, and with their father busy playing pickleball in a Florida retirement village, this once close-knit siblings search for comfort in shiny new toys instead of one another. It's not long before the Jacobsons start to realize that they'll never feel rich unless they can pull their family back together. So it sounds totally fun. Jackpot Summer. June 11th. All right. Lulu Dean's Little Library of Banned Books by Kirsten Miller. I really enjoyed the book The Change that she wrote a few years ago, which was really fun. This one is about a satire of a southern town and the battle over banned books and a little free lending library that Lulu begins to take wholesome covers and put them over very different books and what it does to the town and how it affects everyone. So it sounds hilarious. I think it's completely timely. I hope it's a brutal takedown of all these idiots who are trying to ban books and frankly should be banned themselves. So this comes out also June 24th, and thank you to William Morrow for this one. Okay, I love this book so much, and I talked about it before. This straddles a line to me between being a really great commercial fiction book and a lit fic book, which is why I put it where I put it. Meaning after this, I'm going into a little more literary fiction, which is Margot's Got Money Troubles by Rufi Thorpe. I've talked about this before. It's a fantastic story about a young woman who lives in California and while at college gets pregnant from one of her professors. She decides to keep the baby and realizes very quickly what a financial situation she's placed herself in. She has a roommate and her father ends up moving back in with her. Her father was a former WWF wrestler. So she makes the decision to start an OnlyFans page to raise money and does it very smartly. And what happens? It's really good. It's incredible social commentary on women, on sex, on sexuality, and the sexes. And it's heartfelt and wonderful and so funny, so funny. Rufi is just amazing. This comes out June 24th. So put this on your list, and thank you to William Morrow for this as well. All right, moving into the more lit section of this video, I have 5 books. 2 I've read and 3 I have not. Bear by Julia Phillips. This is out June 25th, like Chris Whitaker. And thank you to Hogarth Books for this. I've never read any Julia Phillips before, so this will be my first. Sam and her sister Elena dream of another life. On the island off the coast of Washington where they were born and raised, they and their mother struggle to survive. Sam works long days on the ferry that delivers wealthy mainlanders to their vacation home, while Elena bartends at the local golf club. But even together they can't earn enough to get by, stirring their frustration about the limits that shape their existence. Then one night on the boat, Sam spots a bear swimming the dark waters of the channel. Where's he going? What does it want? When the bear turns up by their home, Sam, terrified, is more convinced than ever that it's time to leave the island. But Elena responds differently to the massive beast. Enchanted by its presence, she throws into doubt the plan to escape and puts their long-held dream in danger. A story about the love between sisters and the mysteries of the animals that live among us and within us. Bear is the propulsive, mythical, rich new novel from one of the most acclaimed young writers in America. Sounds great. Again, this comes out June 25th, and now I'm really wondering what island it is, because I may be going to take a little visit to Bainbridge Island, and this might be going with me. All right. Next, thank you to Harper Villa for this, The Coast Road by Alan Murin. Again, I already talked about this. I will just say it's been one of my favorite books of the year so far. This is a debut novel. Alan Murin is an Irish writer who, again, mark it in your calendars as a little preview, but he will be coming on the Gaze Reading podcast. This is set in 1994, before the referendum that came through in Ireland that allowed people to get divorced. And it is about 3 women on the island, effectively, and their families. One who is married but very dissatisfied in her relationship. One who had had an affair and left her son and husband and has now returned back to the island. And another woman who is in an abusive relationship. All of these stories were eventually going to converge. It's a beautiful, fantastic debut. So that's all I'll say. Mark it down. This comes out June 4th, so very soon. Sandwich by Catherine Newman. This comes out June 18th, and thank you to HarperCollins for this. This will also be my first Catherine Newman novel I've ever read. Jason, my podcast partner, read this and absolutely loved it. For the past 2 decades, Rocky has looked forward to her family's yearly escape to Cape Cod. Their humble beach town rental has been the site of sweet memories, sunny days, great meals, and messes of all kinds, emotional, marital, and thanks to the cottage's ancient plumbing, septic too. This year's vacation with Rocky sandwiched between her half-grown kids and fully Asian parents promises to be just as delightful as summers past, except perhaps for Rocky's hormonal bouts of rage and melancholy. Hello, menopause. Her body is changing, her life is too, and then a chain of events sends Rocky into the past, reliving both the tenderness and sorrow of a handful of long-ago summers. It's one precious week. Everything is in balance. Everything is in flux. And when Rocky comes face to face with her family's history and future, she's forced to accept that she can no longer hide her secrets from the people she loves. So, next is Fire Exit by Morgan Talty. This comes out 6/5, and thank you to Tin House for this. I just read this, so I'm going to talk more about this on my wrap-up for May, but it's a really, really, really engaging book, an incredible character piece. Beautiful, beautiful writing. I did not read his first collection of short stories, Night of the Living Rez, but this is really, really good. And again, I'll talk about this more in next week, but put this on your radar. And the final book today is The Road to the Country by Chigozie Obioma. This comes out June 4th. Have never read anything by him either, so I'm really excited about this. And again, thank you to Hogarth. They're putting out incredible stuff. When his younger brother disappears as their country explodes in civil war, Kunle must set out on an impossible rescue mission. Set in Nigeria in the late 1960s, The Road to the Country is the epic story of a shy, bookish student haunted by long-held guilt who must go to war to free himself. Kunle's search for his brother becomes a journey of atonement that will see him conscripted into the breakaway Biafran army and forced to fight a war he hardly understands, all while navigating the prophecies of a local seer who marks Kunle as an Abami Eda, one who will die and return to life. The story of a young man seeking redemption in a country on fire, Chigozie Obioma's novel is an odyssey of brotherhood, love, and unimaginable courage set during one of the most devastating conflicts in the history of Africa. intertwining myth and realism into a thrilling, inspired, and emotionally powerful novel. The Road to the Country is Chigozie Obiama's masterpiece. June 4th. All right, you guys, there you have it. A pocket full of books to set you up for June, to get your summer going, all kinds of stuff ranging for all kinds of readers. I will see you next week with my May wrap up. A lot of terrific books that I've read. I completely, in some ways, went off what I originally thought I was going to read, ended up reading different stuff. So I'm excited to tell you all about that. Thank you for hanging out, and I will see you all soon.